Govee's new holiday lights are incredible. They can help you build an amazing display, and they have some of the best features and some of the best colors on any lights that I've ever worked with. But there are so many ways to use these and so many features. I know a lot of you feel overwhelmed with this, and a lot of you have been asking for a comprehensive guide. So that's what we've done today, as we'll show you how to properly set up Govee gear with Matter, a number of different installations, and we'll also walk through some of the most important and special features that Govee now puts on their smart lighting. The 6 products you're gonna see in today's video are the Govee Christmas String Lights 2, the Icicle lights, the Christmas Cone Tree lights, the Net Lights, the Curtain Lights 2, and the Govee Christmas Tree Lights. All of these are exciting new products, but you'll find that if you have a slightly different version of their holiday lights, that this guide should help you out in a lot of ways. All the time codes are below, so if you're looking for something specific, check those out. Jump to the part you need. Otherwise, I'm going to show you how to properly set up a Govee product that has Matter. This is a little logo you'll see on the front of their boxes, and there is a specific process for getting this done right. Let's give her. I'm gonna use the Govee Icicle lights to show you how to set up any Govee Matter ready device. If you have one that isn't Matter ready, you won't see that logo on the box. That's okay, you're still gonna see how to do the setup here today. But we're gonna use this as an example device. It's the same process every time, but you do have to follow it. Now, this is my controller. I've obviously plugged in my Icicle lights before, and there's a different method for resetting Govee products per product, but basically if you have this type of a controller, usually it's just holding the button like this. You get the flashing lights, and then your device is factory reset, or it's at least reset. Now, once you've done that, you have 15 minutes to do the initial Matter setup. If you don't have a Matter ready product, just skip this first part. Now on Androids, you should get a pop-up eventually on the Matter setup being ready, but if you don't, that's okay, you don't have to wait. For me, the most useful Matter integration is Apple HomeKit. So I'm gonna use an iPhone here. I'm gonna hit Add Accessory, and then it's gonna ask me to scan the tag. Now the tag is right here on the device, and you just scan that using your camera, and then it identifies it as a light. You hit Add to Home, and this does require a Matter ready controller to be in your home with Apple HomeKit, but the nice thing is a lot of the new iPhones, they're actually Matter controllers today, so you don't necessarily need a big HomePod in your home. You can get a HomePod Mini, an Apple TV. All of those act as Matter controllers in a lot of cases today. Check compatibility with the devices. Now I could be adding this instead into apps like Amazon, Samsung SmartThings, Home Assistant, Google Home, all of those, Homey Pro or the Homey app, and there's probably a bunch of others that you're thinking about. As long as they're Matter ready, this is going to work. So now I have to choose a light location. Now this specific set, these are going to actually go out in the backyard. I've just chosen to create a new room here, and then I can call it whatever I'd like. The name you use in the app is actually unique when setting up Matter products. So now I'm going to view it in the home, and now I have control of this light through Apple HomeKit. Now that I've done that initial setup, I'm actually not going to use this tag if I want to get this into other applications. I'm going to go into the settings for the device. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom, and now I've turned on pairing mode, and this code, you want to keep it at the ready. So I'm going to show you guys with Samsung SmartThings. That pairing code is essentially a replacement for this code. So I'm going into Samsung SmartThings. I'm going to hit Add Device. The way they do it in SmartThings is you choose Partner Devices, and then you'll see Matter pops up here. You just choose that. Now, you could scan the QR code. You can't scan this QR code. You have to scan if you get one from the app. But I can add without QR code, and now I just have to type in that code from Apple Home. So I've typed that in, I'm hitting OK, and now we're making a connection using that code and getting it into Samsung SmartThings. And now it's making that connection through into Samsung SmartThings. And again, we're going to be able to name it potentially different if we'd like than Apple HomeKit, and we're going to be able to control it independently in both apps. We can create automations in both apps. So this is fantastic. But what I'll tell you is each of these apps, they just have some basic controls. So here it is now inside of Samsung SmartThings, and again, I can put it in a room. I can put it in a different room than I had an Apple HomeKit. So you remember I created that backyard room, and look, it's called Govee Icicle Lights 2. So these are different names. And now I'm done the setup in Samsung SmartThings, and I'm done the setup in Apple HomeKit. I can continue to add additional platforms if I'd like. So just to show you, there you go, on and off. I have some presets inside of Samsung SmartThings. So this is where different applications might give you some different effects, different little things that you can do with this product, but it is still fairly basic control of color, brightness, and power. The next stage of this happens in the Govee Home application. So you will want to get Govee Home, and you're going to want to hit the plus up at the top. Now, if you're not in the device page, you won't see that plus. So just hit the plus. It should show up right here based on Bluetooth, actually. So your phone will use Bluetooth in order to find the device. If it doesn't find it, you can toggle Bluetooth, or you can just search for the type of device. So this is Icicle. And then you can find your model number, which is sitting on the controller right here, H70D1. There it is right there. So I could choose to do that. I can also choose to do it this way, and it will find it again. Whatever way you find it, hit add. If you're having trouble, toggle your Bluetooth, and it should find it. Now, it's just asking for me to hit this button, and again, I have a new name that I can set for this. So these are going to be my fence icicle lights. Okay, and that's where I'm going to place these. Now, this orientation can be changed later in the app, but I think we're going to be doing it this way. That's the installation, so my adapter will be on the left and I'll go that way. Just helps with effects. Now it's searching for Wi-Fi, but this is where things will be a little different if you have Matter already set up on your device. So the device is previously connected to a network. Here's the name, in Matter. Are you sure you want to use that network? Why, yes, I do. So we don't want to change the Matter network, the Matter setup. We're just using that setup. This is really important. If you change the Wi-Fi now, it will probably break the device, or at least the control in those other apps. It doesn't break the device fully, but you'll end up having to do things again. So now here in Govee, you can see I have full control of the light again, and this is where we will get lots of these other scenes that are so nice, all the different effects. So that's how you set up and properly use Govee's lights with all your different Matter apps and with the Govee app. Installing any holiday or lighting product on your home can be a bit of an interesting situation. So any guide that I was going to create for you guys was going to include how I did the different installs. I can tell you now that lots of what I'm about to show you I would call alternative. Those kind of installations are going to be fairly simple, so I wanted to give you some different looks in our install guides. You'll find in the time codes below that we have all of these marked for the different products, so just watch the ones you're interested in, and then we'll get to some automation options that you have with Govee. Okay, this is gonna be wild. First of all, I gotta move the tree. I wasn't thinking. Do the thing where you make the tree look right. You know, this is a 7-foot tree, but at the bottom, its diameter is quite wide. So, you know, 100 feet of this, I'm gonna be able to go around a lot of times. And what's so nice about what Govee has done here is they have made it so easy to unreel or unwrap this. Okay. Things are going good. Also, it hasn't even snowed outside. So, my neighbors definitely think I'm nuts, but I don't care. Halfway through the reel, maybe a little more. We're about halfway up the tree, but the tree gets a lot skinnier now. Oof, dizzy. I can barely reach up this tree. Look, we're basically done, and I got the right amount left. No, I got way too much. That is a well-lit tree. Just winding through all these just to use up a little extra. Don't think we're gonna be complaining about that little extra bit. We're gonna do what's called the mapping feature. Now, mapping is going to allow you to do some additional effects, or at least to have the effects look a little bit better. Now, it's in beta, and so what they're gonna say is 3D spatial recognition, and now we've just gotta hit ready, keep the phone stable. So we're just gonna do it like that. There you go. Saying recognizing. See the little M? That means it's using your map. So here, let's do fireworks. Yeah, you can see how that's flowing out of the middle of the strip now. So this is definitely something they couldn't have really done properly without that map. This product is rated as IP65 waterproof. It can be used outdoors, but cannot be immersed in water. It's gonna work to minus 20 degrees Celsius. So all I need to do is grab all this stuff, unwrap this one, plug into my adapter. It's a 2-pin adapter, just like that. Okay. I don't really have a good plan. I do. I'm just kidding. What I'm gonna end up doing is getting a stake here for the power. So right now, I'm gonna keep this out of sight, go around this 1,000 times. Up, around, round, around. And that's what I'm gonna do with this one. And then we're gonna go up the pillar. It's a good thing they put this on the reel. So you're gonna go around a few times, but you gotta feed the reel through every time. So if you can't feed the reel through, you can't do this. Or it's gonna take you forever because you have to unroll this, feed it all the way through, come around. You wanna make sure you have a pretty good idea of how much you're gonna use. So I counted these up. They're 3 feet tall. I've got 36 feet to use. There we go. Keep some tension on it. I'm getting pretty quick with this. I've learned, go around, keep tension on it, go around, try and go through with it along the back so you can keep tension on it better, like that. So I'm hooked around the pillar, and I'm just gonna come down here. So now it's gonna get tough because I gotta go either around this or through this each time, and I've decided I'm gonna go through it each time. So now I gotta unreel everything. So I have to find a spot where it goes through every time and pull the whole reel through. Probably would have looked fine if I went around the eaves. The crazy thing is that I could probably make it to my backyard. We have so much cable here, but I can definitely make it there if I want. And like I said, I'm gonna eventually have an extension cable right here. I decided to mount it right there. Just use the little sticky tape. Now I can hide lots of this cable. So here's how the first couple have turned out. Can't say that I don't like it already. I'm here with the Govee Icicle lights, and I'm gonna get these installed on my eaves here in my home. Now I've opened everything up. We've got a number of clips. These are ready. I'm gonna bring these with me. I've got my cable and my adapter. These are ready. So we're gonna make sure that these go to where I want to start the lights, because they're pretty much starting right after that. Let's go. First things first. This, you're gonna wanna make sure that seal is good. This is where your Wi-Fi signal goes to. So you're gonna wanna keep that in a good place. Plus, you can control the whole thing from there. I'm gonna throw this over because I'm definitely making it up there, and we're gonna start our lights along here. Tough spot right here. Okay, get our hooks out. Is it like this? I feel like it's like that. So I read the book. They said about 14 inches, a little over a foot. Oh, so wet here. Okay, this is it. That's it, man. I think the only real concern is that you keep the cable fairly straight as you come across. Need some shades. Instead, I think when you turn the corner, tight to the wall. Like that. If you got lots of corners, you're gonna be using lots of extra hooks. Thing at this corner, kind of a problem spot for me there. Yeah, there we go. It's almost like I planned that. And I did. Got an end cap, 3-pin connector, simple in. There we go. So much sticky tape. You don't really need that much. I'm not gonna stick that very hard. Might have to put a little brace in here or something. But probably not. Probably good. This will be hard to get off if I ever need to, but not really difficult. I just want to show you how simple this could be with the Icicle lights. So that's it. I just have it wrapped around here. Now, if your neighbor's gonna get annoyed by that, obviously don't do that, but nice and simple. all along, and I think this is actually going to look really neat. Now these are really long, so this is going to be super simple. Now if the neighbor's upset about this, well, you got bigger problems. So you're just going to go around. I got 2 of these, and we're not going to need many of them. There you go. Okay, it's nice and simple. There we go. Now this one could come off if I don't do it well enough. We'll clip that later, but that's on there now. Ooh, broke. Last one. Oh, let's have a look. Make sure all these are out. But I like that already. And that was an easy install. Nice. Apparently my fence is 33 feet. A little less. Just before I take it out there, I wanted you to see it all laid out. Yeah, it's doing a pumpkin thing here for Halloween, but this thing looks amazing. Now, this version is 9.4 feet, so quite long. You're gonna have to find a long space for that, but it's not that deep, like 2.8 feet. Now, whatever surface you're sticking to, get it cleaned up and then get it dried. So I'm gonna stick it to my windowsill, and I'm gonna stick it outside here because I'm gonna let it hang down and kind of show off the front of the home. All right, clean, dry, good to go. I just want to show you right here, okay? This is hard to see, but I did pull that off. Now I can re-stick it on there with hot glue or something to that effect, but just be a little bit careful. I snagged it on something and I pulled, and so that would break down the structural integrity. Just so it hangs down really well, I'm gonna put these at the front. Because I'm using these clips, just gonna kind of pre-set them out. I've already measured this. It's not long enough, so I'm gonna have to deal with some brick over here, which will be fun. That's kind of my layout of clips that I'm thinking. I've got a few extras for the side. Based on what I measured, I should need 4 on each side. So we're gonna start there. So I'm just checking that generally it's gonna not really have a lot of cable up here, but then I'm checking where my placement is for each of these, just to be in between. Good. Just tuck in there. Okay. I honestly did not think that that would work as well as it did, but this is gonna look nice. I'm gonna give you a bit of a different installation here for the curtain too. You know, I'm not done my ceiling, and I'm not gonna be done it for a while. And all I'm gonna do is put in a screw here, put in a screw at the end, then I'm gonna run a string across and hook onto it with the adapters. Let's go. I think I want to come out a little bit. There. Don't want a lot exposed. Ouch. Don't particularly like this board. This would have went way better with a real hook here, and I'll probably replace it after I'm done. Okay, I've got my second up here, but I need some more tension on the line. So we're gonna tighten it a few times, pull it closer, tighten it a few times, and just get it to where it's basically like that. You're gonna capture the hook in here. Okay, so or the line, and that's it. Okay, not going anywhere. Okay, just to give this a little extra support and to stop that from coming off of there, I have these metal zip ties. They're nice because they're flat at these connection points. And if I want, I could put some zip ties around here. I've just got to make sure that I'm actually supporting the string. Before you get up on any ladder or you start to try to install these, get them unraveled, but also check how this is going to look around your home. And then thirdly, this is the most critical part, make sure you can get the power to here. Then every 2 of these, install one of your little connectors or little hangers. And these hooks, they do spin. In general, you want to put on the 3M sticky tape against the wall, but I'm not doing that here today. Hook on, and I've got 2 hooked on already. This is a really easy slip in piece right there. You know, the nice thing with this having tape, I could stick it to there, I could stick it up here. So I'm definitely going to be able to put 2 of these up here. They're not as wide as I thought, but you can combine units of these. So nice with the way I've done this, I can just pull it along, get it situated exactly where I'd like it. At the bottom here, you gotta kind of pull things out, let the curtain lines hang, and there you go. Now we can put on the braces that keep these the right distance apart, and this should help everything. So something I have learned here is that you likely want to start actually right at this end one. You have enough clips to go all the way to that end. So you can see I'm going to have to adjust every one of these now. So I've done the whole run and it's keeping them a good distance apart. It's actually really well done. What you could do is anchor these if you wanted to. Just a couple of them actually along the way, I think would do everything you needed. So now it's just tie in my power. And this is maybe where it's nice to have a bit of an unfinished situation. We're actually going to build a wall here, so this is going to be a good corner for me to put like a channel, a cable channel up here. Now my controller is going to be up here, so if I ever need to factory reset something, you know, I'm up here, and I better do my setup while I'm up here. Place this all back here. Nice. There's my matter sticker. So don't bury this stuff. Take pictures. Dead center. Let's see. Beautiful. Okay. That's pretty fun to look at, isn't it? You know, there. Okay. Here it comes. That is pretty hard to argue with. It is awfully nice looking. Oh! Awesome. Let's get the big old tree built. This is gonna be a fun one. Nice. Simple. Good. Now I'm pretty sure it goes like that. And then like that to make it kind of pretty. Next, pull. And the last one doesn't have the little clip on it. Now you got this. Now Govee was thinking about this one. Okay, so all you're gonna do is bring this around and secure this in here. All we gotta do is get the springs from each of these attached to their runs. So come down, and what'll be tough about this is getting each one to the right spot. If you're kind of gonna go opposite sides like this, which I think is a good idea for stability, you have two things to think about. Number one, count these, make sure they're lining up with the number of legs that you have, and then we're gonna want to attach this before we're done everything to the pole. So your power is gonna go like that. I really like that Govee has given us this little loop at the bottom with the cable. Oh. And you can lift each leg a little bit to get it on there, so you're not creating a lot of tension here. It's actually quite easy. One other thing that's really important, you know, if you're not finding things are lined up this way, you can spin this. So really smart design. I've got two more to do, and I want to deal with this. So I'm gonna let this out and let it drop all the way. So Govee's given you 5 tie wraps to do this with, and I think you're gonna want to start up high, or as high as you can. Go straight up to the top, and there you go. You might want to go all the way to the base. It's all going to depend on kind of what you're thinking for a cable length, because there's actually not that much cable remaining for me. One other thing, and I think this is the better choice for those of us in Canada. Okay, this is a crazy install. So the first thing they tell you, vertically attach the bar support to the top and leave about 1 inch out. And you're gonna do that with the included cable ties. So there we go. I've got one. Obviously I gotta cut that off later. This is probably not strong enough, right, to hold all of this weight. I know this might be a little hard to see, but right here we have this, and we're just snapping it in there. But you're kind of gonna want the 3 of them to be on opposite sides of the tree. But I tell you, this thing is heavy. I'm gonna locate this towards the back of the tree. We're going over the side, and you know, these have a little bit of the net on them, so I'm gonna throw that over. Let's see. This is a moment. I just don't think this is gonna hold, guys. Look at it. There's no way. Look at it. Yeah, I don't think so. And honestly, like, okay, stupid question. Why can't I just do this? What I think I'm gonna end up doing is something more like that. The other option, you know, if you can, you fold that. I got one on there, and okay, actually, I think this can work. Now, what you've got to do from here is start unraveling, but essentially just come out from where you are with the single LED string. Toughest install I've had with Govee's products in a while. It's just because these get tangled up inside of each other. Details can be finalized after. Okay, now let's get some of these branches pulled out past up at the top, you can see that ring, okay? And then the strings that are coming down are kind of restricting the top of your tree. For me, I could not get the stem to stay and give that enough structure up there. So if the top of your tree is really a stiff pole, you know what I'm talking about, then it's gonna work for you, okay? Otherwise, you're gonna have to finagle things a little bit. I still think it looks nice, but I will say, when it is totally equal distance here between all of these, and you see how consistent the lighting effect is, and then you see some of these lighting effects that go alongside with this, it is pretty wild to look at with this on there. So this is a bit of extra effort. It might even cause you to reinforce things a little bit, but it might be worth it to you. One of the biggest strengths of Govee's gear today is that they have an incredible lineup of products and they all work really well together. This allows you to create incredible scenes, and there are people who will be able to create better looking scenes than I've created in my home, but a good example of Govee products working together. In our studio, I have their triad floodlight as the background lighting, so it's not just the curtain light in there today. That's a really bright light. I've shown it in the past. It's a great outdoor fixture for providing a lot of that light. It's much better than basic spotlights, but Govee has those as well. We've installed those at my parents' home to light up the front and the side of their home. I also installed the outdoor string lights back there. They're super lightweight. They have a ton of lights on them, so you can really get those across a patio, or in my case, on a fence. I have floor lamps around my home, and the TV backlights, when used with another feature called Video Dreamview, really makes your home look coordinated inside. I'll show you later how you can automate Govee lights with other products you might have around your home, but for now, let me show you the options you have for making Govee gear work together. The first way is to create simple tap to run scenes. Now, one of the nice things about these is they will synchronize with Amazon's voice assistant. So we just create a simple name. You can group them if you want, but then just hit add action. Now, your other option is to import commands. So if you've previously created another one of these tap to run scenes, you can have that and those set of things imported as part of your actions. But generally, you just want to turn on your different lights and you want to put them in certain modes. So we can choose a snapshot if we've previously saved any of those. We can choose any of the scene modes. So for example, I'll choose Christmas, I'm turning it on, and I can set the brightness at the same time as a few other things. This is one example. If you want to preview what it's looking like with that setting, you just hit preview and then it will show that. Now we can continue to add in these other actions. So my rope light's on 50%. Maybe I just want a basic color on this one. We'll make it red. I'll hit OK. With things like curtain lights, you do have those DIY modes that you might have created. Those will be some of the animations, so I'll include one of those. Once you're done, you just hit the check mark, and that is now my Xmas scene. And you can see that that scene was just added to Amazon. So this is a great way. You can now go turn on that Xmas scene with Amazon's voice assistant. The next way is to create a schedule-based automation. Now you can do this per light. You see here in the timer section, we can make adjustments to what time, what days, and whether we want them to repeat, and then we can bring on these devices. But it's probably better to do this in an automation. So there is an overall automation up here. You can plan by specific dates or by weeks. Now, what we want to do is add a time point. Let's say we want some of our lights to come on at 8 a.m. Let's say we want to see our Christmas tree and we want that in the Christmas mode. And just for general brightness, I'm gonna turn on my cylinder floor lamp. But I'm gonna make sure that this is in the right color temperature for me, okay? So I'm gonna put that around 2800. I can set the brightness, and then I'm gonna hit OK. And let's say that's all I want to have happen at 8 a.m. Well, I can add another time point. Let's say we want this one around noon, and let's say we wanna have a little bit of additional fun here. Now it's lunchtime, so we wanna get our emojis going on our curtain light. Okay, so you can see now how you build all these time points, and you can pick to repeat this. Also, you can build multiple of these schedules. So I've just named mine Weekly Plan 1, and I can create an additional one if I'd like. So you'd have multiple of these for different setups that you have around your home. You can also turn on and off different ones. So if you name them, you know, for Christmas, for Halloween, there you go, you've kind of preset your home. The next way is a little more exciting because this is where we start to get into home automation in the automation tab. They have these auto run options. Now, indoors, you have options like Govee's presence sensor, which you do have to plug in, but then becomes a really effective way to turn on and off your lights when you're in a space. You have a trigger. This is gonna start the automation. You can do things like sunrise, sunset, and you can set it before and then set a time frame before sunrise. That helps you to get things started when the sun starts to go down or comes up. But we have things like the Govee presence sensors. Now, these have actually a lot of good options. So it's just presence when someone comes in the room or when someone's been in the room for a certain time. You can also set different distances. So someone's in the room and they are further out than a specific distance, or they're closer in than a specific distance. You can use all of those, but let's just say someone's in the room and now we can start adding in those same actions again. So for me, you know, I want to put my Christmas tree into Christmas mode, and I'm just gonna hit OK. And now I can continue to add in these different effects, these different products, but also, you know, sometimes you might want to delay an action. Now, this means the action will still happen no matter what, and that's an important distinction. So if I put the Christmas tree on and I say, okay, we're going to switch it to that, and then I say we want to delay by a minute, well, what that means in this automation here is that the Christmas tree lights will come on to Christmas mode, and then in a minute they will switch to that, even if I leave the room. So that's important to understand. Now, the last setting you have is the validity setting down at the bottom. You can set that to different dates and times, and that allows you to add in different automations based on this presence sensor. So here's what I've actually set up with the presence sensor inside of my tree sitting there. It's turning on these different things. I'm letting my Christmas lights just go on to whatever they were in the past so people can play, and I'm leaving that as valid all the time. That's just what I wanted to do. But then when people leave and the absence has exceeded 10 seconds, I'm turning off those products. So nice, simple automations working off of a presence sensor. Really effective stuff there. And outdoors, we have another option. Now, this is the outdoor motion sensor. It's a Bluetooth sensor, and it actually gains its connectivity and a lot of its power from something called the distributed gateway. Up here in the app, little icon, hit that, and you can see the distributed gateway. Now you can manage the sub devices, and that is going to be your sensors. So they are essentially given a connection to the rest of your system by the other products, these node devices. You can manage those in or out of the network, but essentially they're going to provide a lot of the connectivity for these sensors. What this means for you is that you can create automations like this. So the outdoor motion sensor, it detected motion now I can turn on whatever I'd like. I've, in this case, turned on a Dreamview settings. So that's going to turn on a number of things, and I've set a validity setting. So I only want this to happen between 5 and 10 p.m. around here on all the days. One of the things that's very tricky with this sensor is you'll need a second automation. So the reason I'm doing this is because if I go in here and I select the outdoor motion sensor, I don't have an option for no longer detected after a certain number of minutes. That's not available on this motion sensor. You might have to use something like Amazon instead for that kind of a feature, because they do have routines that can show no longer detected on a motion sensor, and there are some outdoor ones you can use with that system. So this ends up being managed this way because basically this light is only going to turn on based on that motion sensor right now in my home. The final method really brings a lot of this together, and it's actually 3 different methods tucked into what's called Dreamview. We've talked about this a few times in the video today, and what it is a way to synchronize Govee gear based on a theme or effect. The 3 different Dreamview methods are Scenic, Music, and Video. Scenic Dreamview is a lot like the automations we just created, where you kind of set all of your products into a number of effects. But the difference here is that Scenic Dreamview has some tailor-made effects for each different type of device, so it works a little differently. You head into that home page, you go into add Dreamview, and then you choose Scenic. So this is the first type. As soon as I create this, you will see it's added that to Amazon, okay? So that's now a scene that you can turn on inside of Amazon's application. There might be other apps that you're using. Now we have to select the devices that are included in this. So I'm going to select a number of different devices, then I'm going to hit OK. And then you can set the brightness, and if you'd like, you can actually set the brightness per device. Okay, so it doesn't have to be the same single brightness. And then you're going to select an effect. Now it started a sound, you don't have to play that. Now these are the Govee preset scenes. So after you've selected this, if you want, you could adjust your title so you know which one you're activating, but there are a number of categories here. Some really interesting, different looking things out there for you to test out and try, but there's also an AI generation option. So if you want your home to look like a specific scene, you know, I love this idea of starlight. So it just created one. If I don't like it, no thanks. If I do like it, I can just hit of course. Okay, great. So that's now applied, and now I can just turn this on or off at any time. So if I want Scenic Dreamview to come on, I can turn that on, and then I can turn it off. And again, we have lots of different ways to turn that on or off that I'm going to show you as we go through today's video. Music Dreamview has a really big benefit. What you're going to do is create another Dreamview scene, and then you're picking a sync center. Okay, so the sync center is what is using its onboard microphone. So your product has to have a microphone in order for this to work. Once you've chosen that, you can see it brings you to this page. You can turn on and off Music Dreamview. And again, we can choose a number of products. The big benefit here is that these are connected through the controlling device. So the controlling device is passing on its information. And when we turn on a mode like this, something really interesting happens. Okay, so I'm just gonna select all the different devices I'd like to add to that. And sensitivity. So sensitivity is how much the microphone on that product will be picking up the changes. Then I can choose the different effect, and I gotta say, when you see some of these on my lights out there, right down here, you see this connection happening? this is Bluetooth connectivity happening. So you actually only need this controlling device to be on your Wi-Fi when you turn on this mode, and that is a huge benefit. If they're not within the same distance or within a decent distance, it can be hard to create that little connection. So what you'll see is over time, you turn on this mode and then it just connects all of these different products to the controlling device, and it converts them over to this Dreamview scene. Okay, so I'm within range of my main device, and now it's gonna convert everything across. So you can see it connecting everything. And now there's the brilliant effect, all synchronized. Whoa, that is wild stuff. And finally, there's Video Dreamview, which takes a product like the TV backlights or the gaming sync boxes and synchronizes your other lights to that TV or monitor. This one's not going to be a focus of ours today. I have a review video of some of Govee's new strip lights where I showed how to do that and how it can be really effective. I want to tie all of this together for you. When you're creating any automation or any schedule in the Govee app, you have an option to turn on or off all of your dream views. So if you want to use a Scenic dream view at 6 p.m. at night and turn on all of your front lights, that's a simple automation to create. When you're creating automations with things like the presence sensor and the motion sensors, you can turn on the dream view modes within those. Once you turn off that dream view, it turns off all of those lights too. So this is a good way to control all of your lights at the same time with what is essentially a single command. Now, each of these products has their own specific feature that enhances the individual device, and then you can use it within these different automations or scheduling options. So let's walk through each of those, what they add to the product, and how they work. The first feature is called mapping, and it's available on the Christmas string lights too, and the Christmas tree lights. How this benefits you is that it gives you additional effects inside of the scenes section of the app. Those effects will be denoted with a little M on them. And here you can see the difference between the same effect after shape mapping has been done. Now, this is just being done on a tree. You can do it with any shape that you put these in. This also affects the DIY section for these Christmas string lights. Once you've completed the mapping process, you get these additional options that make your self-built effects look wild. So let's go through a quick mapping process, and then I'll show you all the fun you can have with this. So behind me are some Christmas string lights that I've put in a really weird orientation. And the first thing we want to do to use mapping is to make sure we're all upgraded. So just go into the settings for your Christmas string lights and make sure you're updated all the way. You got to stay within 2 meters while you do this. When you first come in to control your Christmas string lights, you should notice this little option right here. But if you don't, just head into the settings and go into shape mapping. If you're wrapped around the Christmas tree, you can use this 3D spatial recognition option. If not, here's general recognition. Now they'll tell you kind of the 3 steps that are going to go on here. Turn on the main light source, so you can't do this in a completely dark environment. Point the camera at the device. The camera they're talking about is your phone's camera within the 3-second countdown. Okay, the recording will start after the countdown, and the recorded video will be used for light bead recognition. So you have to make sure that the camera for your phone can see all of the lights. So I'm going to head out onto my steps. Okay, so I'm going to hit ready, and now they want us. And you see, I gotta step way back here because they want everything in that box. Go start, and here we go. You can see the lights are lighting up so that it can recognize the result. So it's created this recognition map. I don't know if that's perfect. Let's see what the differences are. And what that's done for me is it's enabled all of these little M options. Okay, so now the app has mapped versions of a number of effects, and these are going to be a little bit different than the other version. Let's go in and see on the tree how these different versions work. So this is called Christmas stripe, okay? And you know, when you're looking at this kind of an effect, obviously it's moving those stripes across, and that took the recognition feature inside of Govee's app. Now let me show you just, you know, next to this. This is Christmas tree, okay? So big differences here between just a basic effect, and then when you switch to a shape mapped effect, look at how, oops, I turned it off. Look at how different that shape mapped effect is. You know, and I think a really great example is fireworks. There's a lot of lights with fireworks built in to Govee's app. But when you look at this, that's a true firework. So it's coming up from the bottom, it's exploding in the middle, and I have to say, that is a fantastic use of shape mapping. Now this is one of my personal favorites. This is called windmill. And if that's not shape mapping at its core, I don't know what is. That is a really cool effect, but it does require shape mapping. The next feature is the option to create animations and images to showcase on both the Curtain Lights 2 and the Net Lights. So not only do these display some animations with the basic effects, but you can create your own with images from the web, for example. Let me show you how we can bring pictures that we either have on our phone or that we've created, how we can bring those into the Curtain Lights and actually the Net Lights too. So this is the DIY section of the app, and what you're going to start with is called graffiti. You can see there's a GIF mode, so we can choose that. We can upload GIFs. Okay, so now it's just going to go here. I'm going to upload it, and I can choose where in the image that's happening, and then I hit OK, and now it's actually displaying this GIF. So that's the simple method of doing this, but there's an advanced method of doing this that allows you to take this much further. So I'm going to choose graffiti, and then I'm going to choose advanced, and you can see it says effect finger sketch. Now we have 10 different layers, and there's additional tools like text. We can call it a carousel or a layer method. So the layers are going to be stacked on top of each other. That, you know, I'm not even smart enough to figure out how to do that. That's just the truth. I'm not artistic enough. But here, inside of the painting mode, well, I'm smart enough to do this. Now, what you'll notice are a number of tools. So I can start with things like that, and I can hit apply, and then it's going to show me that as a layer each time I want to add a layer. That's how I do it, and when I want to get out, there I go. Okay, if I don't like a layer, I can delete it. I can delete this one. So I said I would be able to add pictures. Now over here we can add pictures and we can add GIFs. So again, we can just add in a GIF and hit OK, and now it's filled in the different layers for me. Okay, so that's really powerful. You can just go download GIFs off the internet, upload them here, see how they look. But if you kind of want to create your own sequences, well, we can add in our own pictures. So I'm gonna select my first one. He's freaking out. I can resize, but there is a minimum size here. So this is kind of the smallest I can make him. Okay, there you go. And then I move to the second layer. I choose my next picture. Now he's having a bit of a goof. And I add my third picture. Now he's really a goof. And there we go. So I've added in 3 layers. I can hit apply and I can X. Okay, and now I have a 3 sequence animation and I can see it already. Now I can also choose what I want for a background color. You might not want a background color, or you might want to dim it down. You might want to choose from a number of others. So it's just shown up here in the app. Let me show you how it looks. Now you can see we have our little display going on there, and I'll show you now how you can apply the same DIY to another one. Now I can't bring that effect over to my net lights that are outside. I could recreate the whole thing, not a very difficult, but based on the size of my device, it's gonna look a little bit different here. Okay, so now he's a bit of a squish guy, and this is why it didn't just come across as a DIY. So I know that didn't look incredible in the end. You guys are going to be way better at this than I am generally, because I'm not a super artistic person. I just grabbed something off the web and put it on my curtain lights. But it was Remembrance Day just a short while ago, and I thought I would do something special for my net lights. Now what I did there was a more interesting option. I think this is how you can get any effect on your curtains or net lights. I went into the AI lighting bot, Canada. If I don't like this one, I can ask it to regenerate it, okay? Or I can give it additional prompts. But let's say I like this one. If I don't exactly like what's been created, then I can make adjustments by hitting edit. I could just have saved this to DIY if I would have liked. But now you can see how I have the pattern already in, and I can copy this to additional layers. So as we go now, I can make adjustments to how this looks. If I want to get it to kind of look like it's fluttering a little bit. So there. Now I can preview the layer before I save it, but now you can see that I've added 2 layers, and really I'm working with something that was generated for me. So now I can just hit apply. I can also save this one, put in a name for it, and call it my animated Canada flag. We can also change movements and things like this. This is just based on the pattern that we're using. So now you can see layer display time. If I want this to be 5 seconds, there we go. So let's go check out how this looks on our net light out front. So the pattern goes, you'll see it here in a second. It'll twinkle because that's the effect I left on, and it's in this method or that shape, and now it's switched to the other one. So this is all adjustable, but there you go, on the front of my house, nice Canadian flag. If you're looking for more information on Govee's holiday lights, our review of these includes some of the automations that we came up with that will help you to further automate your whole Christmas light setup. You'll also see more ways that we use these lights than you did in today's video. So that is up on screen right there. Check that out. Otherwise, thanks for watching today, and of course, live smart.